Father, with praise and glory, I do give you thanks for this Shabbat, for this time, and I just continue to pray and ask and seek your face to give us wisdom and understanding in the portions of our lesson today out of the Torah. And so may you just grace us with understanding, and I give you praise in Yeshua's name. Amen. All right, today's Torah portion is Numbers, starting in Numbers 1:1 through 4:20. Okay, it's 1:1 through 4:20. Now, I've talked about this before, but I want to talk about the generations because that's what this first Torah portion is about. And so, just to understand, what the generations are. And I know John, last time he talked on it when I was here 2 weeks ago, he was talking about generations. Because we've grown up, we've heard, we've been influenced that a generation is how long?
40 years.
40 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because a generation, biblically, a generation that's a generation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when she has children, that's another generation. So we go by, the original, then we go by the child, then we go by the grandchild, then we go by and then if one dies, if the older one dies, then that generation is gone, it's over with. And biblically, and then you go to the great-grandchild, and so forth and so down the line. Mm-hmm. And so it's a span of time is basically what it is. It's not a collection of time. What I mean by that is, you don't take a bunch of generations and then you divide them up, and you come up with 40 years, because you can go anywhere from 40 years up to 70, up to 80 years. When you do the generational thing like that. So that's what the beginning of this Torah portion, it's about numbering the generations. And I know when John, I'm trying to remember what he talked on when I was here last.
Matthew and Luke.
Because, what was said to Abraham, and we'll go through this again, what was said to Abraham is that, there's, 400 years and your people will come back. Okay, so if you take 400 years, divide that by 40, what do you come up with? 10 generations. Doesn't work out biblically.
Yeah, because people lived at different times, had children at different times.
And actually, we are in our time frame right now, it's pretty close to what Joseph was. Okay, and so as far as the time span of years alive or having children.
So if you have a child, that child is the beginning of the next generation?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they have a child, that's the beginning of the next generation.
Right.
That's kind of just makes sense,
Well, when the scriptures use the
Yeah.
word generation, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the next offspring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so
But trying to pin it down to just a number, it just seems like something man would do. We're
Yeah,
always trying to put
that's
everything in boxes. So.
very good, because that's where it
Yeah.
came from. It came
Not
from
bad.
humans trying to figure these things out, and so so let's start in Numbers chapter 1 verse 1. I'm going to be jumping back and forth to a couple other scriptures as I know I've got a mark. Oh, I took the mark out. I took my bookmark out. There we go. Okay. No, I didn't. All right. So I'll tell you what, Martina, you want to read you can go down to verse 4, 1 through 4.
Okay, 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now Yahuwah spoke to Moses in the tent of meeting in the wilderness of Sinai on the first day of the second month of the second year after they came out of the land of Egypt. He said, "Take a census of the entire Israelite community by their clans and families, counting the name of every individual male. You and Aaron are to number all in Israel who can serve in the army, those who are 20 years old and older by their divisions. And to help you, there is to be a man from each tribe, each man the head of his family.
Okay. Now, we're gonna go through those here in just a minute, but let's understand what Yahweh is asking of Moses, and even Aaron along with that, but mainly Moses, to number the children of Israel, but they're not numbering everybody.
Right.
They're only numbering the men who are of 20 years or older. Those are the ones that are going to be counted. Why? I don't know. But that's the way, this starts off. And so then it goes down through the tribes, and we're going to do that here in just a minute. But before we get any bit further, because, I'll it was 603,000, I think. Is that right? I've got it written down. 603,550 was the total number of these men that were in that group at that time. And so that's what came out. Those are the ones that were counted. And what's interesting is most people do not factor in children. Most people don't factor in women. Most people don't factor in even the animals that came out. And so I was with Amy. It was 4th of July. We went up on a hill just north of Denver and looking out over the whole landscape. And we're sitting there talking, and I just made a comment to her. I said, Amy, take a good look. Fireworks going off and everything. Just take a good look of what you see. And I said, that would be about the size of those that came out of Egypt. Because at that time, Denver was at about 1.5 or 1.6 million people. Now, imagine trying to move that amount of people.
Like herding cats.
Oh man, it'd be worse than that, even herding cats. I mean, it's like, it would take, and with no planning either, as far as, it's just like, get out, go. And so, you got women, children, animals, things that they took from Egypt, and, we were sitting there talking and everybody, a little bit, and just trying to imagine that. All the dust and everything that got kicked up. And so, last weekend, I was, for Mother's Day, went up to my granddaughter's house, and she had, Amy had all of her family were there, and, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, and I was talking to my granddaughter about this. She had a question, and so, I think 5 minutes into the conversation, I kind of mentioned to her the very story I just related to you, and she was done because she was trying to figure that out. She was trying to visualize that because she was never taught that. She never heard that, and so it was like, how do you fathom that amount of people? But you have to if you want to get the full picture of what was going on at that time when they were leaving Egypt. You have to get the full picture. So once I said that to her, that's all she could focus on. And so 15 minutes later, she said, no more. And so, but it was a good conversation. I was able to share a little more with her, which hopefully that she'll remember, or it'll come back to her memory. But the amount of people.
Yeah.
Now, as we get down, go on to verse 5 of Numbers. Mine reads, "These are the names of the men who shall stand with you." Now, this is still Yahweh speaking to Moses. And so it goes on and lists the tribes, and it lists who's the one that's going to be helping to count these people.
Right.
And I this morning, again, I just went through this and, just kind of focusing on this. John Shaver and I did this years ago, and so I was trying to recall, what our conversation. I mean, we spent several hours on this. But as we go through, I'm just going to list them off. Number 1 is Reuben. Number 2 is Simeon. Number 3 is Judah. Now, these are the tribes.
Right.
Number 4 is Issachar. Number 5 is Zebulon. Number 6 is Ephraim. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. Number 7 is Manasseh. Number 9 is Dan. Number 10 is Asher. Number 11 is Gad. And number 12 is Naphtali. Now, those of you that have all the tribes in your head, who's left out?
Levi. Levi.
Yeah, Levi is left out. And so we get, where's my little notation? Here it is. So I went by as I went over here to the names of the tribes. In verse 20, because that gives the numbers of each of the tribes. Leah has 5. I went down the mothers. Leah had 5 of her offspring. Rachel only had 1. Benjamin, that's listed. Bilhah had 2, which is what she had. Zilpah had 2. Does anybody want to take a stab at who the next, basically the last one? That's listed in the names prior that we just, I just named off. Asenath. Now wait a minute. Asenath was not a wife of Jacob.
Oh, she's Joseph's wife.
Oh, that's right. She was Joseph's wife.
Right. And she's mentioned in the count.
Oh, she is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because-
because of, okay.
Exactly, because Joseph had the 2 children, Ephraim and Manasseh. And it's interesting because Ephraim is mentioned first. This is where in most of the teachings and most of the books that we read, Ephraim has taken leadership even over Manasseh, but Manasseh is mentioned independently. And that's why, in here, it gives the number of both Ephraim and of Manasseh. But the way it's stated in verse 32 is, for the sons of Joseph, for the sons of Ephraim, their offspring, according to the families, according to their father's household, by number of names, every male from 20 years and age up, everyone who goes out to the legion or out for war or army, and it gives a count, 40,500. Then it goes on for the sons of Manasseh. In verse 34, same wording, gives a number, the number is different, but they are counted independently. They are not counted as offspring of Joseph. Even though, as it starts off, they're included in the Joseph genealogy, but how many generations do you have there in the scripture? How many generations are mentioned? Let me put it that way.
Starting from?
No, just go by verse 32 on through verse 35.
Oh, okay.
So here's a little test on setting this whole
So
teaching up.
Joseph would be the first generation,
Okay.
and then, so are Ephraim and Manasseh separate generations?
You tell me.
Because they have separate offspring.
You tell me.
So they must be separate. They have separate offspring. They didn't have,
Did they have separate fathers?
they had the same father.
Okay,
So they're
that's
from the
one
same
generation, then
Okay.
whoever comes, the amount of children, it doesn't matter, they're all of the same generation,
Okay,
because you only have one, whoever they came from,
wherever they came from.
is male-wise, scripturally.
Okay.
So does that mean that Ephraim and Manasseh were different generation from the rest of them?
No, they were one generation from Joseph. See, this is where the mixture comes in
It's very confusing.
to try to figure this out, especially when you get into the prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel, is because trying to figure out what a generation is. So, I've only got 3 generations. I've got 4 counting me. But I've got 2 daughters and a son. That's one generation.
Okay.
And among them, I've got 8. Yeah, I've got 8 grandchildren. So that's another generation. Then among those, I've got 8 great-grandchildren. That's another generation. So you've got 1, 2, 3 generation, count me, that's 4. Okay?
Okay.
So, and like I said earlier, when one of the generations dies off, they're out of the mix. Okay? Now, that's just generational counting that I'm going by. You still got a little, you're puzzled with it.
I am, because the rest of the tribes would have been the same generation as Joseph, right?
Yes,
Oh,
except for
Ephraim,
Ephraim and Manasseh.
right, because they're Joseph's sons.
Yes,
So they would be the next generation.
yes. Now, I know what John brought out a couple weeks ago. He was doing the lineage of Yeshua. So since most of us are familiar with that, I want to use that to sort of just lay a time frame out. You know, as far as when they came out, when they came out, when they went into Egypt, and then when they came out. And so to kind of see within the time frame, how many generations were there? How many generations do you think, that went into Egypt, came out of Egypt? Anybody want to take a guess? 400 years.
You said how many generations went into Egypt?
Yeah, how many generations went into Egypt
1, 2, 3.
and how many generations came out?
At least 3 went into, because if Jacob went in, there's 1. And then his sons went in, there's 2.
So probably at least 3, maybe
At
4.
least 3.
Yeah.
Some of their kids
At least
were
3
already adults.
because the older brothers were old enough to have married and have children, so.
Now, in my Chumash, I can find it real quick. There it is. In my Chumash, I have a list of the generations that went into Egypt.
Oh,
Most people teach about a number.
right,
How many, what's the number, generally?
70.
70.
70. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, but a lot of people don't, they'll pick Joseph, but Ephraim and Manasseh were already born when they came into
Yes,
Egypt. So you had actually 72.
72.
72 people went in,
Right,
but the generational number is very, very lower because that's what you're saying. You got 3 to 4 generations.
so, but they wouldn't be counted as going in, would they, even though?
They were,
Oh,
yeah.
they were born
Mhm.
there, but
Yeah.
they're still counted as going in?
Yes.
Okay, because they came in through Joseph,
hmm
okay.
Even though at that particular time when they went in, Joseph had not made them Jacob had not taken them as his own sons.
Right, but it's still Joseph's
Yeah.
next generation.
Right. So with that in mind, those in the lineage of Yeshua that's listed in Matthew, and we're going to go. If you want to go to Matthew, let's
So
go.
what page is that on in your
Huh?
Chumash? What page is that?
261.
Okay. I can look that up.
Do you have the same thing, same Chumash? Okay.
You got the stones?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I have.
Now, I'm not, honestly, I'm not trying to confuse anybody. But I'm back in Matthew 1. So I figured there's only really 2 tribes that we can get an actual names of people that went in. You know, now, there's other writings that will list, you know, the generations out. But when we do the ones that went in of Judah, were and Onan, and Shelah.
But, okay, but they went in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they
Yeah,
did
because
not.
they're listed as those going in.
Oh, they are, huh?
Yeah. Same way with Perez and Zerah.
I thought,
These are of Judah now.
but I thought and Onan died
Mm-hmm. They
before
did.
that.
They did.
But they're still
Yeah.
counted as going in.
Yes.
Well, with Sheila, because Sheila was still alive.
Yeah, Sheila was. And so, they're counted as going in, which, and like you said, didn't they die already?
Yeah, they
Yes,
died.
they did. But they're still among the count of them going in. So now, if we eliminate those 2
Right.
and we add the other 2, you have 70.
Oh, wow. I'm not even gonna try to write that
I know.
down.
See, that's the whole thing. It's just like, you know, unless you really think about
Right.
this, and you know,
Okay,
I
yeah.
wrote it down on a bunch of papers and stuff. So, but Perez would have gone in, and he's of the lineage of Yeshua. When you go back here to,
But it's Perez and there were twins, huh?
yes, yeah, Zerah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you go back here to Matthew chapter 1, verse 3, says, you know, to Judah were born Perez and Zerah by Tamar, and to Perez was born Hezron, and to Hezron, Ram. And then it goes to Ram was born Aminadab, and then to Aminadab, Nahshon, or Nachshon, however you want to pronounce it. Okay. Nachshon is the last one listed in the people group that came out. So as this lineage goes on, Salmon was born after they came out. And then we have Boaz with Rahab, and by that Boaz and Rahab, Boaz and Rahab, you know that was in the land. When they went into the land, that was after Joshua and them went into the land. So they wouldn't have come out with the children of Israel out of Egypt. So let's look at that. Let's look at how many generations there are.
6.
So, huh? What?
Nachshon is 6. From Jacob, from Yehuda is 6 from Yehuda.
Are you counting Yehuda?
Yeah, Yehuda would be the first generation. Then Peretz is 2, Hezron is 3, Ram is 4, Aminadab is 5, and Nachshon is 6.
So it'd be 6. And then Salmon, I think Salmon should be in, yeah.
Would be 7. So that means Salmon made it through the wilderness.
Yes,
He didn't have to die
Yeah.
in the
Oh, he
wilderness.
didn't? Oh,
no. So he may have been under 20.
right, probably, because all those over 20 died,
Yeah,
so he was probably under 20.
yeah, because that's Salmona's the last one listed when they went into the land. And then after that, you have
Boaz.
then you have Boaz.
So was Boaz's mother Rahab?
Hmm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And so, again, the reason I bring this up is because, 4 generations, generally at the most, is the time frame that they were in Egypt versus the time when they came out. So so now you take 4 generations and divide that into 400. What's the length of a generation then?
4 divided by 400 is 100.
100 years.
Yeah.
So now if you use a 40-year period versus a 100-year period, are you going to be off?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
What's 60 years between
It's math.
friends?
I'm not in school. Don't make me do math. I'm no longer homeschooling. I don't need to do that anymore.
But it's 3 to 4 generations is when they were in Egypt.
Mhm.
That's the main point. It was 3 to 4 generations. And so when we look at the lifespan, how old was Joseph when he died? Does anybody know?
Like 100.
It's over 100 years.
Like 110 or something like that. I know this. 120.
This should be an easy one. How old was Moses when he died?
I think it was 120. So yeah, Joseph 110.
Yeah, I was right. 110.
Nice work.
Yeah. That's a trivia question. You got it right.
I was usually good at those.
So you're saying Israel as a whole, cumulatively, like gained, they grew 4 generations in Egypt, in their time in Egypt.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's all it basically is. When you get it, because I've got all sorts of stuff. Levi's another one that I went by, and Levi had 4 generations as they went in. And they counted those that were in there, and then those that came out.
Mm-hmm.
The offspring of those. It's about 4 generations.
So 4 generations in 430 years.
Well, primarily 400 years. We use 430. Scripture brings that out,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to go back to Abraham. You start counting from Abraham.
Okay.
I mean, this is one of those things within our Jewish community that the rabbis, they'll go round and round about that.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Versus, Scripture says one thing,
Right.
but then the reality is, this is the way it really is. And so, but, because they mark it some mark it from Abraham, some mark it from, from Jacob. But if you, it was said to Abraham, it wasn't said to Jacob. So you have to count those 2 generations. From Abraham, you have to count Isaac, and then you have to count Jacob. So you had 2 generations there.
It's just funny because 4 seems like a very underwhelming number. You'd expect, like my brain, over 400 years, I would expect a heck of a lot more. But it's
Exactly.
really, it's really not very many, which is interesting.
Generational wise,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's obviously the footprint of Israel was getting quite large because that freaked Pharaoh
Okay.
out. So,
And I think that's with the numbers that we're growing,
mm-hmm,
should be something that we need to focus on more,
mm-hmm,
because in Egypt, that was the issue that the pharaohs had. Here, and when Israel, when Jacob went in with his family, they had 72 people that went in. But you know what they're not counting in that 72?
The The servants.
Servants.
And, yeah, all their servants.
It's concubines. Yeah.
And
so-
their wives.
yeah.
And their children.
And
and-
it's the same thing when they came out. Some of them may have had servants. You never know. It's just one of those things. Scripture doesn't bear that out. Except in one place that I read this morning that, I can't, I didn't write it down, but, the indication is some of them brought their servants out with them. They were part of the mixed multitude. See, we're not even counting those in. We're not even
yeah.
counting in the mixed multitude. And so, get away from my notes here. So, in the census, it leaves Levi out until we get further down in chapter 1. Okay, so, well, actually, not until chapter 3. He's just told, don't count the Levites.
Right.
So chapter 3, verse 1. Verse 1, these are the offspring of Aaron and Moses on the day Yahweh spoke with Moses at Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron. The firstborn was Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. These were the names of the sons of Aaron, who the anointed Kohanim, whom he inaugurated to minister. Now, as a remembrance, Nadab and Abihu, verse 4, died before Yahweh when they offered alien fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. Okay, and so, now it goes down, he brings them, tells the whole thing that we've read before in Leviticus. But go down to verse 11. And we're just doing remembrance on some of this, because we know some of this already. Verse 11, Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel in place of every firstborn. The first issue of every womb among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Okay, I talked about this last time when I was here, 2 weeks ago. It doesn't matter, male or female.
Then why do they translate it with male in here?
The word male can be both, it can be either.
Right.
I think when you look it up, it's a different word than just,
Yeah, I looked at different translations and it changes up in the different translations,
Yeah.
so that's why I was.
Well, in Hebrew, the word for a group of mixed people, men and women, is masculine.
yeah.
But if you want just women, it's going to be feminine. So you have to look at the context.
Well, the issue, the one thing that I spoke the last time
Yeah,
was the first issue of every womb
right.
among
Well,
the
that's
children
what
of
it
Israel,
says,
and the
so-
Levites shall be mine. So that doesn't matter if you're a Levite or of another tribe. If
Right.
you're a firstborn, and look at the way I describe it is, if you open the womb and you come out, boom, you're Yahweh's.
So what if the firstborn is born, but born dead?
Then it doesn't count.
Doesn't count. So it has to be a live birth
Right.
from the womb.
Now, how can I say that it needs to be a live birth? They have to live. They
Yeah,
have to
they
take a breath.
Have to take a breath.
Yeah.
So if they die after they take a breath, they're counted?
Yes. But it's not until the 30 days later, or 31 days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's, they
From
wait a-
1 month and up is where you're supposed to count the Levites.
Yes,
There's no age group, there is no other,
Right.
specifications.
yeah. And for service, it's 30 to 50.
Well, yeah, and that's just for the Kohanim.
Yeah.
the priestly line, or lines. So, you're firstborn.
And the daughter of firstborns. Yes.
Where are you at? In your birth of your family? Of your mother?
Oh, firstborn,
Okay, so you're firstborn.
yeah.
Secondborn. I'm a thirdborn.
Firstborn.
You're firstborn.
Older siblings, sort of, because of a mixed family, but
Well, you go by your mother.
my mother, yeah, from my mother, I'm firstborn,
You opened her womb.
yeah,
Okay. So you would be classified in this category.
okay.
Now, to make it a little more confusing, the males have to be redeemed.
So,
It's only the males?
That's the way I interpret it.
Yeah. Well, see, sometimes when it says man, it says both man and beast.
Right.
That could be mankind.
That could, yeah, it's,
You
yeah.
have to look
it's-
it up and, yeah, it's possible.
so we wouldn't be redeemed.
Female, no, I don't see that in here. In this Torah, within this Torah portion. So, but why are you chosen as firstborn?
In place of the ones.
If you classify yourself as being of one of the tribes. Oh, we're getting a little pop quizzes in here.
Because of the 10th plague,
Yeah.
Okay.
the death of the firstborn. That's what I know.
Yes. It's because of what happened in Egypt with the
Right.
death of the firstborn. That's what he states. Let me see if I can find it. It might be further down here. No, that's dealing with the firstborn males. Yeah, it was,
Verse 13, for every such firstborn is mine at the time that I smote every firstborn
There
in
you
the
go.
land of Egypt. I consecrated every firstborn in Israel, human and animal, to myself, to be mine.
there it is. I have it right here. November, Numbers 3:13. For every firstborn is mine. And so, in the way this reads here, and then I sanctified every firstborn. I set them apart.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what the word
mine
sanctified
says.
there. I
Mine
set them
says,
apart.
I set apart for myself
Yeah.
all the firstborn of Israel, both of man and
So I'd be
beast.
okay if I crossed out all the males in this part, right?
Well, it's not so much that, it's just understanding.
Well, I know, but it just, I guess it irks me because it should just be firstborn.
Right,
Right.
And it just,
and what, in what opens the womb,
right.
okay?
But see, Cain was firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
So, was he the
you-
father?
Is what,
Cain was firstborn.
If we
Abel was second.
take it all the way back
To Adam.
to Adam,
Adam.
but see, this is a very specific, it's talking about when they came out of Egypt.
Okay, so this is specific
Yeah.
to coming out of Egypt,
Yeah.
but it does okay.
But I would think that, that could have been a factor in, what Cain brought as his offering.
I expected more of you.
Yeah. So if you go that Cain was set apart and he messed up, he didn't do it exactly the way that
Right.
Yahweh wanted him to, well, there's, I'm gonna state something, and it could be taken wrong. Just because you're firstborn doesn't mean
Yeah,
you got a pass to do whatever you want.
right.
Doesn't work that way.
Say it's not so.
Sometimes the firstborn thinks that though.
Huh?
I said sometimes the firstborn thinks that.
Yes, exactly. And you can Now, what happens if you have twins or triplets or quadruplets or
Well, there's always gonna be one who comes out first,
whoever
though.
breaks the womb,
Yeah.
whoever opens the womb?
What about in the cases where the arm comes out, but then
Okay.
goes back in?
Yeah,
That's confusing.
that is confusing, but
It's like the
were
first
they,
one in the
did
race.
they,
They didn't take a
Fully
breath.
born, they weren't fully born
Yeah.
yet, so.
they didn't come out and take a breath, because you have to take a breath. That's another confusing thing of, you know, being born. So, the women's water breaks, baby comes out, takes its first breath. All right. When Adam took his first breath, what was he called? Let me put it a little more simpler. When the breath of Yahweh blew into Adam's nostrils, what happened?
Well, that was the ruach.
Yeah.
Breathe in.
Yeah,
He became a living soul.
he became a living soul or a living being.
Yes.
It's taking that first breath. So, now there's a lot more that goes along with that, but that's just the simpleness of it, you know, in what we're talking about, you know, as far as being firstborn. Okay? You're pondering something.
No. Well, maybe, but I'll be okay.
Okay. So the total, and I'm just gonna give you the total of the Levites that were 1 month and older. See, there's no cutoff age.
Right,
Just
at
like
the
with-
census,
Yeah, just like with the others, it was 20 years and older. Now this is 1 month and older. The total with that number was 22,300. Now, can we add that number to the 603,000?
No. Right, because they're not counted amongst the tribes of Israel, they're kind of their own little separate entity. if you will, right?
All right. That's the whole thing of being set apart, is they are independent
Yeah,
of the other tribes. Because the other tribes had a specific date. It was older, so everybody that was 19 years, 364 days old, they were not counted
right.
when they came out of Egypt. You had to be 20 years and older. So again, that left a lot of people, not except for, unless you were the Levite, then you were 1 month and then up.
So
Doesn't matter
they
how old you were.
calculate your birthday. Some cultures, everybody born in that year is one.
Yes, yeah,
Doesn't matter if you were born the last day of that year, as far as they calculate, you're one.
so,
So, do we know how they calculated that? Did they go by birthdays, seasons?
make it easy. A lot of stuff is done, that we do today is done by convenience.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things that, you know, I try to point out. So, all right, now if you have any questions, now's the best time to bring them up, you know, keeping within the
so do you
context.
think they counted like we do?
No, we count differently. And I talked a little bit about that last week as far as the Jubilees go.
Oh, yeah,
The way people count today on the Jubilees is nowhere, in my opinion, near to what
right.
Scripture brings out.
So how do you think they counted their birthdays? Like the season you were born, or?
Well, within our Jewish brethren, they, you know, when they bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, what do they go by?
They have to be 13.
Yeah, but. how
Well, you
do
have to
they
be
figure it?
13, but what does when you get, you know,
Puberty?
no, it's not puberty, bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, what's one of the key elements?
They have to know
Torah.
that.
Torah portion.
Oh, they go by, yeah, that's right. That's right. It's their Torah portion.
It's the Torah portion. because the Torah portions are read in specific times of the year.
Right.
They can vary by
So
I
2
have
weeks.
Morty's.
It's the Torah portion when they were born, so it's somewhere in that week.
Yes,
Okay.
and so, that's man's
Right, that's man.
house calculation.
Yeah, mine and Far Archive are like right after one after each other.
Okay, so I'm gonna go. Let's see. Now, chapter, there was some, chapter 3, verse 40, there was something there I wanted to. Oh, the redemption, yeah. Now here we get to the redemption, chapter 3 of verse 40. The redemption of the males, because it's very specific. Yahweh said to Moses, count every firstborn male of the children of Israel from 1 month of age and up, and take a census of their names. You shall take the Levites for me, I Yahweh, in place of every firstborn of the children of Israel, the livestock and the Levites in place of every firstborn of the animals of the children of Israel. Okay, that's just reinforcing what we just went
What's the
over.
reference again? I didn't.
I'm chapter 3, verse 40 is where I started.
All right.
So, and then to reinforce that, verse 42, Moses counted as Yahweh had commanded him every firstborn of the children of Israel. Verse 43, every firstborn male, according to the number of their names, from 1 month age and up, according to their numbers, was 22,273. That 75. No, it's 73. I got the wrong number written down here. And that was for the Levites. Oh no, that was the number of the firstborn.
This is the first one.
Whew.
Okay.
And so it reinforces again, verse 44, Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, take the Levites in place of every firstborn of the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites in place of their livestock, and the Levites shall be mine. I am Yahweh. And as for the redemption of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who were in excess of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels each according to a head count in the shekel. Shall you take, the shekel is 20 gerahs. You shall give the money to Aaron and his sons as redemption of the additional ones among them. Now again, that's another one that's kind of hard to understand. And even the rabbis come up with, well, you know, they didn't have any shekels at that time, so they had other counting. But when you interpret, take where you're at the time you're writing this or translating this, you put in there what you are, what I want to say, the money you're using at that time.
Right, whatever that is, that's
Yeah.
how they counted them.
Yeah. And that was supposed to be used for the Levites, and then it became, you brought that half shekel in, that Yeshua mentioned. That was for the taking care of the temple, and even the synagogue. The synagogues had offerings that were they were sort of expected from the people. Okay. Now, chapter 4 is dealing with the responsibility of the Kohathites regarding the movement of the most holy items. And let me read let me start in verse 1. Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, this is chapter 4. Take a census of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi, according to their families, according to their father's household, from 30 years of age and up until 50 years of age. Everyone who comes to the Legion is to perform a work in the tent of meeting. This is the work of the sons of Kohath in the tent of meeting, the most holy. When the camp is to journey, Aaron and his sons shall come and take down the partition curtain and cover the ark of the testimony with it. They shall place upon it the takish hide covering and spread a cloth entirely of turquoise wool over it and adjust its staves or poles. Upon the table of the showbread they shall spread a cloth of turquoise wool and place upon it the dishes, the spoons, the pillars, the shelving tubes, and the constant bread shall remain on it. They shall spread over them a cloth of scarlet wool and cover it with cover of takish hide, and in place its staves. They shall take a cloth of turquoise wool and cover the menorah of illumination, and its lamps and tongs and its spoons. I'm assuming that the menorah was not burning at that time.
Yes. That would be,
That's what I'm
that would
assuming.
be wisdom.
Yeah. Which to minister to it. They shall place it and all its utensils into a cover of takish hide and place it on the pole. Now, upon the gold altar, they shall spread a cloth of turquoise and cover it with a covering of takish hide and in place its staves. They shall take all the utensils of the service which they serve in the sanctuary and place them on the cloth of the turquoise wool and cover them with the covering of the takish hide and place them on the pole. Now, I kind of want to bring this up at this particular time because I've done research again, and in the temple, the poles were in the items. The poles were on the Ark of the Witness, the Ark of the Covenant. They were on the altar of incense, and so here it's saying they weren't in. They were when they were set. The poles were pulled out. Then when they went to move it, the poles were put in. This is what they're saying. Again, in my opinion, the temple does not represent the tabernacle. The temple is man-made, and it will be made again by men. Okay, verse 13. They shall clear the ash from the altar and spread a cloth of purple wool over it. They shall place upon it all the utensils with which they minister upon it, the fire pans, the forks, the shovels, the basins, all the utensils of the altar, and spread over it a covering of takish hide, and in place the staves, meaning put the poles in. Aaron and his sons shall finish covering the holy and all the holy utensils when the camp journeys, and then the sons of Kohath shall come to carry, so that they not touch the sanctuary and die. Or the sanctuary there would be the Mishkan. These are the burdens of the sons of Kohath in the tent of meeting. Okay, into the Mishkan. Now I want to jump down to verse 18. Do not let the tribe of the Kohathite families be cut off from among the Levites. Now I'm going to call this an eternal statement. So in verse 19, thus shall you do for them, so that they shall live and not die when they approach the Holy of Holies. Aaron and his sons shall come and assign them, every man to his work and burden, but they shall not come and look as the holy is inserted, lest they die. Okay, and that's where our Torah portion
Well, that
is.
would cut them off.
Yes. And so, but the principal thing here is verse 18. Do not let the tribe of Kohathite families. Now, since the temple was not movable, you could name and number anybody to do the work there. And so, I don't know. This is just me personally. I don't know if they even have an idea of who the Kohathites would be today.
Well, do they need them? to,
Actually, honestly,
the
it's a good
temple.
question. No, I don't think they do,
they
as far as
don't,
they're
because
doing
it's
for the
not
temple.
movable, they're gonna put it together
Right.
and that's it.
It's gonna remain that way,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Cause their main job is moving it.
right. Plus, I used this to, when they did move the articles from the, you know, when the quote, they said they moved them from the tabernacle. You know, like see, the Ark of the Covenant, anybody could move. They primarily kept within the Levite family, but anybody could move the
But
Ark of
they
the
still
Covenant.
have to move it the right way.
No, there was no instructions on how to move the Ark of the Covenant.
And how come,
Now, people will argue with me on that,
and how come Uzzah was killed when he touched it?
because now personally, this is me personally, I believe that the father wanted that thing tipped over.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. But then I think later on they moved it, and didn't they carry it, and it was okay?
Yeah, you could put it on a cart, you know, but the Ark of the Witness, you could not put on a cart.
Right,
That had been handheld by humans.
but I think the
The Ark of the
second
Covenant's
time they
different.
moved the Ark of the Covenant, didn't David have it carried?
Mhm.
And then it was okay. So.
Well, it went that way, yeah,
Yeah, it was okay to move it that
until it
way.
was placed within the temple. Then we have the information, when it was placed within the temple, what was inside of it. I know you guys know this. What was inside the Ark of the Covenant that was placed in the temple?
Well, yeah, with the tablets, the rod.
No, just the
Not the
tablets.
Ark of the Covenant, it was just the unbroken tablets?
Just the unbroken
That's
tablets.
the only thing that was ever in there,
Yeah. Now, how were they able to see that?
because it's open,
Because it's open, it doesn't have a lid.
right? Because nobody
doesn't have
was
a cover.
supposed to go in there unless you were, you know,
Right. See, in the Ark of the Covenant that they were carrying, that Uzzah touched, that was an open, it didn't have a cover on it.
right.
Because people think that the Ark of the Covenant that was in the temple is the Ark of the Witness. It's not.
Right, yeah, a lot of people
we
still
talked about
think
that.
there's only one ark.
Right. So. Gave you something to think about. That's basically all I have for you, so. Any other questions or thoughts, or?
I was trying to think of something her and I were talking about when we were making our way through the week, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Oh. I think it had something to do with the redeeming.
Was it redemption?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I just kind of passed over that.
because it was something about redeeming the Levites. I just can't remember what it was.
The part about how, like, when they were in Egypt, all the firstborn belonged to the Lord, but then it sounds like in the wording here that only the Levite males belong to the Lord.
They're the ones that have to be redeemed. Even along,
Didn't every firstborn male and, didn't every firstborn man and beast have to be redeemed? Or no? Yeah,
Yeah, verse 40, 41.
yeah, because that's, verse 40 to 43.
So then the Lord said to Moses, "Number all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above, and take the number of their names."
Okay, stop right there. Now, just understand that, just in the context of that.
Okay.
That's of all the children of Israel,
Yes.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because not all of the children of Israel are firstborn,
right,
No.
so, just like what we have here today. Most of you are firstborn, I'm not,
No.
Eric, you're not.
Anna, you are.
yes, she
Lucky you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
oh, that's right.
She's a firstborn.
Yep.
Okay. Rebecca, is there more of that?
It just, the language of it was confusing when it said, instead of, you shall take the Levites for me, I am the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel.
Yeah,
So,
verse
that
41.
language was confusing, cause I just don't know what he meant by that.
Okay, that goes back prior, it's just the tribe of the Levites. They're, oops. Who is she trying to find? Oh, poor little thing.
Come here, come here. I got you.
She hit the back of her head on the chair.
She's been disappeared.
Well, she's taking it pretty well. She's taking it pretty well. She's not screaming. I have to give her credit.
Well, she got mom and dad to comfort her, so that helps.
Yeah, because then it goes down to verse 46 and it says, and as for the redemption of the 273 of the firstborn of the children who are in excess of the Levites. That's when you should take 5 shekels each to the head count. So those over and above the 200, at this particular time, the 273.
Okay, so the amount of Levites that's over that number.
Yeah, 273,000 in, so when you get, what does it say, 273,000 of the firstborn, which is actually is 220, or 22,000.
Right.
But the counting of the Levites was 273. And of the counting of we don't know how many firstborns of the other tribes there were. I don't think it tells us that. Well, it's.
And I think it's
yeah,
273, or is it?
Well, you go back over to verse 50. Go down to verse 50, and it says, from the firstborn of the children of Israel, he took the money, 1,365 in the shekels.
Right, and then 5 for each one.
Yeah,
So you have to divide by 5.
so. Yeah, it is confusing, the writing. And that's why in the context, we need to watch it in the context and read it carefully. Because in verse 40, then it says, count every firstborn male of the children of Israel from 1 month and up. And that's what we talked about, what makes you a firstborn. Okay. Did you hear that, Rebecca?
Huh?
Were you able to hear that?
No.
Oh. Basically just, breaking down the context of, what it's talking about here. So you have the counting of the children of Israel, all the other tribes. Then we have the counting of the Levites. Then it tells us who of the Levites, because they're set apart independently of all the children of Israel.
Right.
And so they number so many, and then you have the numbering of, the 603,000 of the males, 20 years and up. Well, then when you get to the redemption part of the children of Israel, taking the firstborn male, it's 1 month and up. Okay, so
Okay.
it's not factored 20 years is not factored in there, just the 1 month and up. Okay, so that number's gonna be really less than, you know, what the total number is gonna be. Okay, and so with that, now you've got the number of how many firstborn males were there. Cause if you included in the original count, all the firstborns, male and female, then you're gonna have a greater number, but it's just only dealing with the males that are,
Shrinking it significantly.
yeah. And so then any of those out of that group, that's in excess of how many that are in the Levites, those are the ones that had to be redeemed. Okay,
Okay.
that's how I'm
Well,
looking at this.
If you, the number 273, if you divide 5 shekels into the money collected, that's what you come up with.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I did it a few times and I thought, oh, that was wrong, let's do it again. I got it this time, yeah, so.
There was a
So
fair
it's-
amount that was collected.
Yeah, so it was collected was 1,365 shekels.
And it, because they usually, back then, they went by weight. So. Okay. Well, now that I've confused you a little more,
So you still have to do math all your life.
I live for the confusion, it's okay.
all right. So let me close this out with prayer. Father, give you praise and glory, and again, I thank you for, you know, what seems to be mundane, but it is something that we can learn from, and you know, I just thank you for the understanding and how you are looking over these chosen people, these of the children of Israel, and you've given us instructions, and thank you again for giving us opportunity to study and to understand. So be with us, and be with our families, be with our loved ones. May you be glorified in Yeshua's name. Amen.